Welcome to today's class. I'm happy to have you on board listening to this presentation. Today we are looking at the coordinating and controlling function of management. Coordinating and controlling function of management. And then towards the end, we'll touch a little bit about budgeting. So we are saying that controlling consists of, or rather it's about verifying whether everything has occurred as planned. Everything has occurred as established from the word go. Have we been able to achieve our goals? Is there somewhere where we are lagging behind? Controlling is a very important function because you started by planning from the beginning. You remember the planning function of management. You had goals, you had visions, you had the objectives that you needed to achieve. And so after you have planned and done all the other functions, including organizing and all that, then you need to check and see, are we on the right track? Because you can actually go up to the end of the term without checking where you are, and you realize that you started failing from the first month. So we are saying that controlling ensures that there is effective and efficient utilization of organizational resources so as to achieve the planned goals. So we are saying that controlling measures the deviation of the actual performance from the standard performance. And it is from here that you're able to discover any deviation and so take a corrective action immediately. So we are saying here that there is the actual performance. How are we performing? Then there is the standard. What do we set from the word go? What did we say we are going to achieve by the end of 5 years? And by the end of the 5 years, that means at exactly 2.5 years, we need to control. Even before the 2.5 years, in the middle of that quarter, we need to control so that we know that we are progressing on well. And if there is somewhere we are falling short, then we can be able to improve. So controlling is a systematic exercise, which is a process of checking the actual performance against the set standards or the set plans. We are saying we came up with some standard performance. We want by the end of this planning, or by the end of this term, we wanted to have, let's say, increased our customer base by 1,000, increased our profit by 1,000, increased our production by this much. So how are you doing? And so we are saying that according to Donwell, just as a navigator continually takes reading to ensure he is relative to a planned action, so should a manager continually to read to assure himself that he's on the right course. So you keep on checking. Are we okay? We said we are going to do this. Are we doing it? Where are we? Controlling has two basic purposes. It facilitates coordination and it helps in planning. So while you are controlling, then you are coordinating. So what are the characteristics of planning of controlling? The first one we are saying is that it's an end function. It's a function which comes once the performance are made in conformities with the plans. So it comes towards the end, because after you have planned and you have done all the other functions, controlling comes towards the end because you're trying to check where are we. Controlling is a purposive function. That means it is performed by all managers at all levels. So it doesn't matter which department you are in, you are trying to control in that particular department. You're trying to say, are we okay? In that big plan of the organization, where are we? So it doesn't matter whether you're in finance docket, whether you're in the marketing docket, in the procurement docket, all of us are trying to check to see whether we are on course. And then controlling is forward-looking. So we're saying that effective control is not possible without the past being controlled. So controlling always looks to the future so that you can be able to see where are we? Where will we be? How are we going to get there? Are we okay? What are we doing for us to be able to get there? So number 4 is that controlling is a dynamic process. We are saying that since controlling requires taking review of methods, changes here and there, because if you realize that you're not on the right track, if you realize that your profit, you had desired to get a profit of 2 million by the end of 2 years, and you realize that you are halfway in the first year, and you cannot even, when you look at it, you don't even realize whether you're close to a 500,000, which is a quarter of what you want to achieve. So you look at some corrective actions that you can take. Is there something that we need to change? What is that we need to change in the process? So we are saying it is dynamic. You can continue and say, if we continue like this, I don't think we are going to hit that target. We can change this strategy a bit. We can change this plan a bit. We can change the way we do things a bit. So it is dynamic. And then we are saying that controlling is related to planning. These two are inseparable, by the way. Planning and controlling are inseparable. Because if you didn't plan, then you cannot control. And if you cannot control, then if you did not plan, then you will not be able to control. So these two functions of planning are inseparable. Planning will come before controlling, and controlling will come after planning. So they follow one another, and they are very, very important, and they complement one another, because it is what you have planned that you will use to control. So if you did not plan, you cannot control. I hope that is clear. So what is the process of controlling? What is the process of controlling? Like we have said, you start by establishing standards. Standards are the plans that you made, the targets. What did we say we want by the end of the 2 years? Is it more customers? Is it more profits? Is it more production? What did we say that we want by the end of that period? So you establish some standard. And then after that, you now measure the performance. So if we say that at the end of 2 years, we should have increased our customers based by 300,000, then we come and measure, maybe after the first quarter, and say, are we somewhere at least a quarter of 3,000? Where are we? And how are we going to get to 3,000 if by the first 6 months, we cannot even record a quarter of that? How are we going to get to 3,000? So you are now trying to measure. This is what we planned. This is our objective. Where are we today? And like I've said, we don't always wait to get to the end for us to realize that we cannot be able to achieve what we planned. So that's why we are saying that it is a continuous process. You continue measuring. You continue checking. How are we performing? We want this amount of profit. Where are we today? Where will we be by the end of this year? Where are we going to be by the end of next year? So you measure the performance. And then after you measure the performance, you now compare. So we have seen that by June this year, we had 506 customers, an increase of 506 customers. And we have said by the end of 2 years, we should have 3,000. So how are we doing? Are we okay? So you are trying to compare. Are we going to get there? Are we lagging behind? Do we need to change something? So it is after you compare that you are now able to see what you need to do. So after you compare, in case you're falling short, in case you are lagging behind, then you take remedial actions almost immediately. Because remember, we planned at the beginning because we know where we want to be. So if we don't take remedial actions, our plans, our objectives will have failed. So we are saying take corrective measures for deviations which have occurred. And then after taking the corrective measure, if the actual performance is not in conformity with the plans, the manager can revise the targets. So you take remedial actions you take remedial actions. If you find that even after taking that remedial action, you are not able to achieve your target, it could be then that maybe you were overambitious. It could be that your plans were unrealistic. So you need to bring them down to something that you can be able to relate with. So we are saying that planning and controlling are two separate functions, yes, but they complement one another. It is what you do at the planning level that will assist you as you are controlling. So we are saying In the absence of controlling, then planning was not of any use. You'd rather not control because you have nothing to check against. So those two are really, really important, and they complement one another. So one of the ways that we control is looking at the budget. So what is a budget? A budget is a formal statement of financial resources, set aside for carrying out specific activities in a given period of time. So when you are controlling, you will find that one of the ways that we normally control is using a budget. And when you have a budget, it helps you to coordinate the activities of the organization. Where is this supposed to be? How much money is required? When is it supposed to be done? What other resources? So you are trying to coordinate the activities of the organization. And then also, it really helps with control. So we are saying that a budget is a control technique whereby actual results are compared with the budget. So this is what we have gotten as our results. But what was our budget at the beginning? What were we saying needs to be done? Where, when, and how? How much money were we supposed to use? So it is a control technique that helps you to understand where you are, what you are supposed to do, what you didn't do, and what needs to be done. So a good budget is characterized by the following. 1, participation. You ensure that as many people in the organization participate in the budgeting process. Then it should be very comprehensive. As you are planning, ensure that you embrace the whole organization. No department should be left out. No caliber of staff should be left out. Everybody should be incorporated. Then number 3, standards. You base it on the established standards of performance. So as you're doing your budget, you look at the standards that you have set, the goals that you have as a company, as an organization, and so on. And then number 4, flexibility. Allow for changing circumstances. And because the business environment is very dynamic. And so what was looking up, maybe when you're planning, maybe actually going the opposite as you now start implementing. So that's what we are calling for flexibility in the changing circumstances. Then number 5 is feedback. Constantly monitor performance. Where are you? Where are you supposed to be? Monitor where you are going. Monitor what is being done so that you can take full control of what is happening. Otherwise, you might get to the end and realize that you lost it in the first month. So then we look at coordination. Coordination is a unification, integration, synchronization of the efforts of group members so as to provide unity of action in the pursuit of common goals. And we are saying that coordination is a very hidden force, but it binds all the functions of management together. It binds everybody together. So we are saying that coordination is an orderly arrangement of group efforts to provide unity. And what coordination does is, because in the organization, there's a tendency for people to work in silos. This is marketing department, they are doing their own things. This is the accounting department, they are doing their own things. This is the procurement department, they are doing their own things. But now when it comes to coordination, it brings everybody together to understand how they contribute to the overall goal of the organization. It is a unifying factor in an organization. It integrates the several parts into a one complete organization, and therefore you have a common understanding, a common purpose, so that when everybody is working, they understand that that I am not just working because I am in this department, but I'm contributing to the overall success of the whole organization. So we are saying coordination is the unification, it is the integration, it is a synchronization of everybody to bring everybody on board so that they know how they depend on one department to be able to succeed, how each department depends on the other department, and how all of us contribute to the overall success of the organization. So we are saying coordination is an integral element and a part of the managerial function. So coordination, you coordinate when you are planning. Because you're saying planning facilitates coordination by integrating the various plans into a mutual discussion. So when you're planning, you are coordinating because you're bringing in the plans for the accounting department, the plans for the marketing department, the plans for the procurement department. You bring them here on the table and you try to bring mutual understanding and exchange of ideas. Then again, you coordinate through organizing. But here we are saying that when you are bringing different activities together and bringing different staff members together, you are bringing in the aspect of coordination. When you're bringing all the resources together and people have to each person needs to get a share of that resource so that they can be able to work. So you are bringing everybody together, all the tasks together, and when they need to be done and how they need to be done. So you coordinate through organizing. Then you also coordinate through staffing, because we are saying that a manager should bear in mind that they need the right staff with the right education, with the right skills for them to be able to do a certain job. So coordination, when you're bringing all these things together, you are trying to coordinate, you're trying to synchronize these people and their skills and their abilities and what they have and their talents so they can be able to do a common job. So coordination through staffing. D, coordination through directing. And we're saying this is the purpose of giving orders, instructions, guidance to the subordinates. And so as you're doing that, then you're coordinating because everybody knows what they are supposed to do through the right guidance, through orders, through instructions here and there. So you're coordinating through a guiding. And then coordination through controlling again, like we have said, you trying to check what did we plan? What have we achieved? Are we likely to achieve what we planned at the end of the period? So again, as you're doing that, you are coordinating because you are doing that because you want the organization, you want the staff members to achieve their goals and objectives. And so while you are coordinating or while you are controlling, then you're also coordinating. We want to look at the types of control systems that we can use in the organizations that we work for or that we will work for. You're saying managers create strategies to try and achieve their organizational vision, mission, and goals. And so we are saying organizational control systems allows managers to track how well they are performing. So you are having a control system to track how you are performing, to track how you are doing. You don't want to get to that period of time and then you realize, we didn't achieve that which we planned for. So you need to control as you continue. So we are saying that different organizations will have different types of controls, but you're going to look at three major ones and see how different organizations use them to control. So the first one is called output control. Output control focuses on the measurable results within an organization. So here is where you're looking at the output. So one organization may decide that the way for us to control is depending with the goal, depending with the plans that we have, we are going to control through the output. And by doing this, you are looking at what have we been able to achieve today? What have we been able to achieve by the end of the week? Or how much profit do we make at the end of the month? How much more goods did we produce that particular day? If that is in our plan, if that is what we really desire. So you are looking at the output. How many sales have we made? How many contacts have we been able to get? How many web visits did we get in our website? You are trying to look at what have we achieved in terms of numbers, in terms of customers, in terms of amount of money, you are trying to look at the output. Then another person may think, maybe output control system is not the best. Why don't we look at the behavioral control system? Why don't we look at the behavioral control system? And here is where we dictate a certain behavior, because there is a plan, there is an ambition that we have. There are goals and objectives to be met. And for us to be able to achieve them, we dictate a behavior. For example, you may see a company dictating that everybody must report to work by a certain time, or everybody must be dressed in a certain way, or this is how we are supposed to handle our customers. So you dictate a certain way to be able to form, to be able to shape some behavior that will help you achieve your goals and plans that you had at the beginning of the year. So we are saying you can introduce some rules, you can introduce some procedures that if you're dealing with a customer, this is what you should start with, this is what you should tell them. Then after that, you seek to know the reason as to why they have come to you, or whatever it is that they want. After that, this is how you deal with them. So it's a behavior that you learn, that you teach. And when you teach it, then it is going to yield to the final goal and the final plan. And you're going to get the results for what you are looking for. Then clan control. So here we are saying that instead of measuring results like in the output control or the outcome, or even dictating behavior, clan control is an informal type of control. Remember the other two, that is the output or the behavioral control, were very formal. Very, very, very formal. And that is why you find people dressing in a particular way, people behaving in a particular way. But when it comes to clan control, we have some shared traditions, expectations, values, norms that will lead the people towards the goal of the organization. And that is why you find that people in a certain organization, do things in a particular way. They have got some traditions. They have got some norms. They have got some values. There is a way they carry themselves out. And so this one is normally supposed to control each and every employee to be able to reach the goals of the organization. So you find these people have their traditions, they have their expectations, they have their values, they have their norms. And so this is what they follow until they are able to achieve the goals of the organization. So that is so much about coordination and controlling as a function of management, and how different organizations will try to control through output control, through behavior control, or through the clan control. So thank you so much for listening. I pray that you have understood. And in case you haven't, you can always go through the video again in your own time. Thank you so much.